The story of the Titanic is a tale of love, sacrifice, and destiny. In 1912, the world's largest ship, Titanic, embarked on its first and final voyage. Its grandeur, magnificence, and state-of-the-art design were a source of pride for the world. The ship carried some of the wealthiest people, but this journey was destined to turn into a tragedy. Scene 1. At the time of Titanic's departure, thousands of people gathered at the port of Southampton. The Titanic stood tall and majestic, admired for its beauty and innovation. It was considered the pinnacle of technological achievement of that time, and was famously declared unsinkable. Scene 2. In a luxurious first-class suite was Rose DeWitt Bucketer, a beautiful and intelligent young woman traveling with her family. Rose was distressed, as she was being forced into a marriage with someone she didn't truly love. On board the Titanic, she met Jack Dawson, a young man from a humble background, who had boarded the ship by chance. Jack's carefree and fearless nature quickly established a friendly bond between them. Scene 3. One evening, Rose and Jack crossed paths again. Rose, overwhelmed with the burden of her life, was at her lowest point. Jack comforted her, allowing her to share her thoughts and emotions. This marked the beginning of a beautiful love story as they started understanding each other deeply. Scene 4. A grave danger lay ahead in Titanic's path. The ship's management had been warned about icebergs, but due to its high speed and overconfidence, the warnings were ignored. One night, as passengers rested, the Titanic collided with an iceberg. Chaos ensued on board as fear gripped everyone. Scene 5. The ship began to sink. Water started flooding the lower decks, and passengers desperately tried to save themselves. Jack and Rose stayed together, facing the new question: would they be able to survive? As panic intensified, people began scrambling over each other. Scene 6. The crew arranged lifeboats for passengers, but unfortunately, many were left behind due to limited space. To secure Rose's safety, Jack sacrificed his place. He assured Rose he would do anything to save her, and the two bid a heartbreaking farewell. Rose was placed on a lifeboat, while Jack stayed behind, facing the ship's inevitable doom. As the Titanic sank further, its structure broke apart, and all its parts were swallowed by the sea. The final moments of the ship were devastating as Jack and Rose shared their last conversation. Jack saved Rose at the cost of his own life, his only wish being for her to live a new life. Scene 8. After Titanic's demise, Rose survived by clinging to a piece of debris. Jack's sacrifice and love left an everlasting impact on her. She was deeply moved by his bravery, and kept his memory alive for the rest of her life. Scene 9. After the tragedy, Rose's heart remained broken, but she never forgot Jack's sacrifice. As she went on to live the rest of her life, she carried Jack's love and memory with her, cherishing the bond they shared. Scene 10. In the end, Rose reached the final stage of her life. As an elderly woman, she kept her memories and experiences close to her heart. The story of Titanic sinking and their love became an eternal tale, remembered and cherished by all. The Titanic continues to tilt, and one end of the ship is on the verge of sinking into the sea. People are clinging to the railings and other parts of the ship, desperately trying to save themselves. The air is filled with screams, and fear has gripped everyone. Jack and Rose make a promise to each other not to let go, even in the face of danger. A loud explosion shakes the ship, and the Titanic begins to split into two. Jack and Rose stand frozen for a moment, unable to comprehend what's happening. The front of the ship sinks into the ocean, while the rest of the ship is violently shaking. Jack holds Rose tightly and encourages her to remain strong and face the situation. Unable to stay on the ship any longer, Jack tells Rose to jump into the water with him. Together, they leap into the icy cold sea, where the freezing water makes it hard to breathe. Jack urges Rose to keep swimming, and they help each other stay afloat in the freezing waters. All around them, people are drowning, and chaos fills the sea. Jack and Rose manage to find a piece of wood to stay afloat, but it can only hold one of them. Jack places Rose on the piece of wood and tells her to hold on while he stays in the freezing water. Jack decides to stay in the icy water, allowing Rose to remain safe. He holds her hand and says, "You will survive. Promise me you won't give up." Rose, sobbing, accepts Jack's sacrifice, her heart breaking as she watches him let go. As the darkness of night fades, the morning sun shines on the ocean. Rose is lying motionless on the piece of wood, while Jack's body is lifeless in the water. Rose, overwhelmed with grief, realizes that Jack gave his life so she could live. Rose gathers all her strength, and desperately calls out for a lifeboat. She blows a whistle, making every effort to attract attention. Finally, a lifeboat comes back, and rescues her from the cold water. After being rescued, Rose tries to hide her sorrow among the survivors. She vows never to forget Jack's sacrifice and love. Although her heart is heavy with grief, her face shows determination to live on and fulfill Jack's dreams. Rose starts a new life under a different identity. She strives to live the life Jack dreamed for her, and though her heart is always full of his memories, she moves forward with purpose. She never forgets him, keeping his memory alive in every moment of her life. In her old age, Rose spends her final moments reflecting on the memories of Titanic. She cherishes all the memories and feels Jack's love in her heart. Finally, she passes away peacefully, and in her dreams, she reunites with Jack. Together, they are forever united, and their love story becomes eternal.